All right, good morning, guys. We are going to kind of put everything that we've done so far with conic sections together to review them and just do an overview, basically, before your quiz tomorrow. So make sure that you have the packet, the review packet in front of you so that you can put these in your notes and follow along. On your quiz, you will not have formulas to go with it, so this is going to be kind of your study guide. So use it well. All right. So we're going to start off with parabolas. So remember that there were four types of parabolas. Y squared equals 4ax, y squared equals negative 4ax. This should say x squared equals 4ay, and x squared equals negative 4ay. Sorry about that. And what we're going to do is we always have to find the focus and the directrix with a parabola. So maybe write that down. Always need to find focus and directrix. And if you need to, go ahead and pause this so that you can kind of copy down those sketches. If you have them in your notes already and you're happy with that, then that is absolutely fine. But make sure that you've got these copied down before you move on. All right, next we have circles. So the standard equation, I'm just struggling today apparently. The standard equation for a circle is this: x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So remember that this is our x coordinate for the center and this is our y coordinate for the center, and we always have to change the signs. And then if we're starting with the radius and going to the equation, we have to square it. If we're starting with the equation going to the radius, we have to square root it. And this is important. A circle is the only conic section with no foci. So on your quiz, it will tell you to label or find the focus or foci if applicable. So the circle is the only thing that does not have foci, because a circle is already, every point on the circle is equidistant from the center, so it doesn't need foci. We looked at ellipses, so these are our two big formulas here and here. Just remembering these formulas for vertices and covertices. So take a minute, write those things down. Sorry about that. Technology thinks it's smarter than me today. So then we talked about hyperbolas, and we used these formulas. Remember that the main difference between a hyperbola and an ellipse is the minus in the middle, and that a squared and b squared don't move. But if you're just given an equation and asked which conic section does this make, if it's a minus, it's a hyperbola, and if it's a plus, it's an ellipse. So take a minute, copy this down. Vertices are at plus or minus a, 0. Oops, sorry. Okay. So then we had example 1. So this is kind of what you can expect on your quiz, where I'm not necessarily going to say what shape is this. You have to be able to say what conic section it is and how you know. So looking at this, what I'm going to say is I know that this is a circle. And circle's kind of the special case right now. I know it's a circle because it has x plus something and y plus something. That's the best reason we can give for right now. So then if I'm graphing this, I'm going to find my center. And my center is going to be at 4, negative 2, because I take the h and the k, change the signs. 4, negative 2. So let me graph that point. And then I have to find my radius, which is going to be the square root of 49. So my radius is going to be 7. So from the center, I'm going to count out 7 in 4 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to try to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. That's good enough. And so I'm going to kind of sketch So I know that that's going to go off the graph a bit, and that's okay. So that is not terrible for a sketch on a computer, but that's what my circle should look like. All right, 9x squared plus y squared equals 36. I know that this is an ellipse because x and y squared don't have anything added to them, and there's a plus sign in the middle. So in order to graph this, I first have to get it in standard form, which means that this has to equal 1. So I'm going to have 9x squared over 36 plus y squared over 36 equals 1, because I'm going to divide 36 by 36. Simplifying that, I would just get 1 and 4. All right, so I have to find the foci. So for an ellipse, the foci are c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So to find the foci, I'm going to get c squared equals, my a squared is 36, b squared is 4. So I'm going to get c squared equals 32. To find the specific value, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get 5, I'm going to call it 5.66. But I want to write it as an ordered pair, and this is what you'll be expected to do on your quiz tomorrow. I need to write it as an ordered pair, and I'm going to say the foci have to go on the major axis. 36 is bigger than 4, so this is my major axis. So my foci have to go on the major axis. I'm going to get 0 and plus or minus 5.66. So there's my foci. Now, if I'm graphing this, I'm going to say my A is going to be the square root of 36, which is 6, but it's under the y. So it's going to go there. And my B, is going to be square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to graph these points. So I've got 6, 0, and negative 6, or sorry, 0, 6, and negative, or 0, negative 6. And then I've got 2, 0, and negative 2, 0. If I graph my foci, they should be like there-ish. Close to the ellipse graph, but not quite touching. That's not my best ellipse I've ever drawn, but we know what it's supposed to look like. All right. Y equals 1/12 x squared. Now, I know right away that this is a parabola because it only has one squared variable. So I need to get my x squared by itself, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 12, and I'm going to get x squared equals 12y. I need my focus. Remember, it only has one, so it's just one focus. And I'm going to do 12 equals 4a. So I'll get a equals 3. And then I'm going to have that point there. And my directrix, because this opens up, I know that my focus was in here and my directrix has to be down here. It's a y equals, and it's the opposite sign, so negative 3. So there's my directrix, there's my focus, and our favorite parabola drawing. Woo! There we go. All right. What conic section does this make? Well, there's a minus sign in the middle, so right away I'm like, that's a hyperbola. So I'm going to find my foci. And remember that for a hyperbola, foci, we use the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So foci, I'm going to have c squared equals 25. These are already squared, so I don't have to square them again. 25 plus 9. C squared equals 36. So c is going to equal plus or minus 6. Y comes first, so the 6 is going to go in the y spot. So I'm going to have 0 plus or minus 6. So if I put those points on here, that's there and there. Then I'm going to find my a and b values. So a would be the square root of 25, and I'm going to get 5. But it's in the y spot, so it's going to be 0 plus or minus 5. In x, the square root of 9 is 3, so I'm going to get plus or minus 3, 0. So graphing these points, I'm going to get 5 and negative 5, 3 and negative 3. Connect those with a box. And then I'm going to draw my asymptotes, my diagonal asymptotes. Remember, I'm using dotted lines to show that these are not actually the graph of the equation. These are just the grid lines or the guidelines. Whoops. So I want them to be dotted. And then I'm just going to go like this, and it's going to get close to the asymptotes but never actually touch. There we go. So then on your quiz, you'll also have to be able to write equations of different conic sections. So this says, write an equation of a parabola with a vertex at the origin and a focus at 1/2, 0. So 1/2, 0 would be like there. So my parabola is going to open like this. So I know that it's got to be a y squared. And this is my a value. So I'm going to have y squared equals 4 times a, which is 1/2, times x. So I'm going to get y squared equals 2x. And that's my equation. Write an equation of the ellipse with foci at 0 plus or minus square root of 17 and covertices at plus or minus 8, 0. So this is my c because foci are always represented by c and covertices are always b. So since I'm dealing with an ellipse, I'm using the c squared equals a squared minus b squared. And I'm going to get square root of 17 squared equals, I don't know what a is yet, but I've got minus 8 squared. I'm going to get 17 equals a squared minus 64, but then I'm going to add 64 to both sides. So that's going to give me 81 equals a squared. And again, when I'm writing the equation of an ellipse, it's already over a squared and b squared, so I don't need to take the square root. With an ellipse, it's always x squared plus y squared. It has to go in that order and equals 1. My a is going to go in the same place as the foci. So since the foci are in the y coordinate, my 81 is going to go under y squared. And the 8, I have to square that, and I get 64, and it's in the x place, so it's going to go under x squared. All right, to find the foci, this is a hyperbola, so I'm using c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And I'm going to get c squared equals 36 plus 4. So c squared equals 40. I'm going to take the square root of 40 and get 6.32. But I have to write it as an ordered pair. Since it's the a value is under x squared, the 6.32 is also going to go in the x spot, plus or minus 6.32, 0. And finally, write the equation of a circle with center -1, 7 and radius 9. So this is my h, my k, and I'm going to change the sign. So x plus 1 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals radius squared 9 squared. So that's just going to give me x plus 1 quantity squared plus y minus 7 quantity squared equals 81. All right, you have a quiz tomorrow, so make sure you study hard. Good luck.